Young Dolph, still a mixtape rapper at the time, began speaking publicly about the fact that he'd turned down a record deal from Yo Gotti and his CMG label. Dolph addressed the declining of this offer in an interview with Sway.
Like, Gotti wanted me to do the, like, man, come on, bro, let's do CMG paper route. It's cool, I'm knocking for that. If I was him, I would have came to me like that, you know what I'm saying? But only thing was going to happen behind it was people like, oh, he popped off because of Gotti. You feel what I'm saying? Which I can't do that because I got too much of my own time and money invested in it.
Gotti replied to this in a Breakfast Club interview, and he sounded pretty positive about things. Now, things were quiet for the next year or so, but then in February 2016, for some reason, young Dolphin decided to get his flippers in a twist and come out and sneak diss Yo Gotti on Twitter. Now, I'm not sure what went on behind the scenes that triggered young Dolph to tweet this, but I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that the week after he had his first album, The King of Memphis, drop it. Now, naturally, this album title ruffled a few feathers in Memphis, and it would have been reasonable to think Gotti and the general public would have seen this as an attempt by young Dolph to try and take that crown as the King of Memphis.
Sit that right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 shit, yeah, I like that, bring that right here, say sit that right there, don't go nowhere, say yeah, I like that, bring that right here, say sit that right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon'.
Welcome back, we back with another reaction video. This is part 2 of Sliding for Dolph, the life taking of Big Jook. This is a Trap More Ross video. Let's get right back into it.
But when I made my original video, it would turn out that there was a lot more going on behind the scenes that may well have contributed to the murder of Dolph, as well as the rap beef between Yo Gotti, Young Dolph, and their respective CMG and PRE crews. It would turn out that there would also be another deadly war going on in the streets of Memphis, between two crews known as True La Mafia and Double R, which may well provide deeper clues as to exactly why Young Dolph was targeted in such a brutal assassination. The real story behind the music begins about 10 years ago, when Young Dolph was affiliated with a young street rapper called J Money. J Money would post pictures of Dolph visiting his hood and saying that Dolph always told him that he wanted to see him win and eat, along with posts calling Dolph's crew, Paper Route Empire, his family. J Money was part of a gang called True La Mafia from the Orange Mound neighborhood in southeastern Memphis, which borders the Castilla Heights neighborhood where Young Dolph grew up. J Money was a respected member of the True La Mafia and was active in the streets from a young age. At just age 18, J Money was charged with the murder of another young man who was supposedly his good friend. But even that situation would seemingly not slow him down, and already later that year, J Money was again in trouble with the law, this time due to an aggravated assault charge. Aside from his presence in the streets, J Money was set to become a big name in the Memphis rap scene. He had a particularly close relationship with the Chicago drill legend Chief Keef and his Glow Gang group, with Chief Keef shouting out his True La Mafia shooters in Memphis on his track, Shooters, with the two appearing in pictures together on social media surrounded by Chief Keef's Glow Gang crew. Another Memphis rapper that blew up from the city, NLE Chopper, would also reminisce on J Money's relationship with Chief Keef.
He messed with Memphis heavy. He messed with a guy from Memphis. A lot of people probably don't know him, J Money Trula. J Money, he was, you know what I'm saying, a big idol in Memphis.
And Chief Keef himself would also reminisce on J Money's wild reputation in the streets.
Hey, though, I was on the phone with J Money one day, right? On FaceTime, his slow ass, folks, he outside the window on the E-way, folks. I'll tell him for you fried shit. Y'all two turns, he on the E-way. No. You was in the car with him?
Oh, y'all hoes, boy. Hold up.
The relationship between Chief Keef's Glow Gang and J Money's True La Mafia went deeper than the surface. In fact, at one point, J Money was even calling his set the Glow Gang Trula. J Money would also score an early feature with another legendary Memphis rapper by the name of Moneybagg Yo, as well as having also recorded music together with Young Dolph himself, and being seen behind the scenes with Dolph in the hood for the music video.
What you say?
But interestingly, J Money was also seemingly cool with the CMG side of the rap beef in Memphis too, apparently hanging around with people like Black Youngster far before the beef between Dolph and Yo Gotti's crew had truly erupted.
Oh, you know everybody.
J Money was one of those people with such a respected reputation in the streets that he could seemingly walk the line between both sides of a serious brewing beef. However, that notoriety in the streets would also make him a target of his ops. And sadly, in 2016, J Money would be shot dead in an apparent gang-related revenge killing. J Money was a high-ranking and respected member in True La Mafia, who had deep connections with many different gangs in Memphis. His murder would allegedly cause a major power vacuum within True La Mafia, leading to internal conflicts and eventually a full divide between two factions in the gang, with some of the original True La Mafia members breaking off to start their own set titled RR, meaning Rich and Ruthless, with many of these members allegedly also having ties to the Grape Street Crips. In fact, another legendary Memphis artist, Pooh Shiesty's cousin Big Scar, real name Alexander Woods, would be one of the former True La Mafia members who was also affiliated with the Grape Street Crips, and he would eventually leave the original True La Mafia to join RR. Things would further escalate between both camps when RR member BG, aka Baby Grape, was allegedly killed by 3 True La Mafia members, C-Mode, Zay, and Go Crazy.
Damn.
Go Crazy, real name Carlos Lacey, would eventually go down for this murder. The deceased man, BG, was actually a close friend of Big Scar, and this incident would allegedly be the catalyst sparking a war between both groups in the streets of Memphis. Shortly after, RR would retaliate, killing Zay, one of the original True La Mafia members suspected of being involved in the hit. Following this, True La Mafia and RR would go back and forth numerous times. C-Mode would return home from jail after a separate case, sending shots at RR in a song called Send a Hit, which made himself an even bigger target, with him even naming himself as the main op. But his run as a rapper would be short-lived, and he would eventually be charged with 7 counts of attempted murder after shooting up a house twice.
People at this home on Myers put up this camera after someone shot at or near their home twice in the same week. Other people who live in this neighborhood say they feel like hostages in their own home because of the random gunfire.
That's one thing. We got the cameras and the good Lord to watch over us, so.
This man who didn't want to be identified says last week someone shot at his home, shattering the glass in this door. His wife and 3 kids, ages 5 to 17, were inside.
Jump out the bed, see what's going on, make sure the kids are all right, make sure everything's okay.
He says the same people returned a week later when his kids were alone. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Police came, they found like 5 shells over there inside the street that time. And then the second time, there was shells everywhere.
Police say the victims were able to identify 19-year-old Byron Walker as the shooter. He's now facing 7 counts of attempted first-degree murder.
The young guy that got arrested, I don't know him. I heard of him, but I don't know him.
Police say the drive-by shootings are connected to the murder of a rival gang member, and Walker is a suspect in that case. Court records show Walker has been arrested 3 other times since October for armed robbery and the theft of vehicles and weapons. 2 of the cases, though, have been dismissed.
Give him a slap on the wrist and let him right back out.
He's hoping that doesn't happen this time and says something has to be done to stop the crime.
They need some wake-up calls. To tell you the truth, I think these young folks out here need some wake-up calls.
In Southeast Memphis, Melissa Moon, WREG, News Channel 3.
Meanwhile, D-Money, the brother of J Money, would also be shot dead in May 2020, causing yet more friction between these warring groups. After D-Money's murder, rumours would spread that he was allegedly killed by the artist named Big Unk, formerly known as Uncle Danny. Big Unk is allegedly affiliated with the RR crew as well as Yo Gotti's CMG crew. He was a prominent street rapper from Memphis, known for showing off serious weapons in his music video. For example, seen here, surrounded by goons and a whole lot of heavy weapons for the terrifying music video for a track called Play Dead, as well as a collaboration with Big Scar called Go Monkey, where him and his goons show off an arsenal of weapons looking like something straight out of Call of Duty. After D-Money's death and the rumours that he was involved, Big Unk, real name Daniel Banks, would simply post 3 laughing emojis on his Facebook, as well as reposting a cryptic message about some things being better left unsaid, along with a shushing emoji. Later that year, CEO Jizzle, another allegedly RR affiliated rapper, would rap on his song Rich and Ruthless. If you diss 23, swear to God, it's gonna be RIP. You ain't hear what happened to last dude, he got left on Trigg Street. This was seemingly a diss aimed towards D-Money, who had dissed a dead RR member called 23 just a few months before he was killed. In fact, just a few days after dissing 23, D-Money would post a text message on Facebook that he had apparently received, where someone seemingly threatens to kill D-Money in his car, swearing to do it on Grape. Now, this is where Young Dolph enters the picture. Young Dolph would actually sign RR members Big Unk to his Paper Route Empire label, despite his former connection to Yo Gotti's CMG. And in signing Big Unk, Young Dolph had inadvertently picked sides in this separate beef that had brewed between True La Mafia and RR. And this would cause True La Mafia to side with Yo Gotti's CMG group, and Big Unk's RR crew to side with the Paper Route Empire of Young Dolph. Now, some fans would criticize Young Dolph at this time, since he had been so close to J Money back in the day, with many being confused as to why he had chosen to sign the man who had allegedly murdered his brother. But regardless of the reasons, apparently when young Dolph chose to sign Big Unk, he effectively made himself a prime target for Trula Mafia, with Big Unk's street ties essentially bringing a younger generation of Memphis gang members to the forefront of this industry feud that had been going on between young Dolph and PRE and Yo Gotti and his CMG label. And so, it would seemingly turn out that this street feud and its connections to the complicated web of relationships in the music industry would ultimately cost young Dolph his life.
See, he be putting that shit together, like.
On November the 17th, 2021, young Dolph would visit the Makeda's Cookies bakery located near the Memphis International Airport, driving there in his camouflage-wrapped Corvette. Young Dolph was known to frequent this bakery and would often share his visits on social media. The store itself would even ask Dolph for a promo after his many visits, with Dolph sharing his public approval for this particular cookie spot.
Say it again. Say you came to get some what?
All I came for to get some Makeda.
Makeda cookies.
Get the side.
Get the side.
Get the side. Come back around there.
Come back around there.
Yes, these right here.
What you got?
Unfortunately, Dolph, I will never go there.
Straight out the
Just for you. Appreciate you, baby. Be safe.
In fact, Facebook users would later comment their disapproval of Makeda's Cookies sharing this, suggesting that letting the world know that Dolph frequented this bakery may well have been a fatal mistake, which contributed to his murder. On his way to Makeda's Cookies, young Dolph would actually stop at a gas station where his final moments would be captured by a fan, and potentially giving away his location. At approximately 12:20 PM, two masked men would pull up to Makeda's in a white Mercedes, almost immediately following young Dolph, who had parked and entered the store only moments earlier. In the security camera footage that the police would later share stills of to the media, the shooters can actually be seen running past young Dolph's Corvette, armed with automatic rifles, which they then fired indiscriminately into the bakery, hitting Dolph 22 times. And unlike the various attempts on young Dolph's life in years prior, sadly, this one would indeed prove fatal, with the autopsy report showing that Dolph had suffered deadly gunshot wounds to his head, torso, and neck. And a shocking video of young Dolph laying on the ground after the assassination would circulate on social media, but is far too graphic to show you here on YouTube.
Oh my God, y'all. They say Dolph dead, y'all. They say Dolph dead. Right up here on Airways and Kitchen. I'm talking about I was just standing out here just seeing this. You talking about back up now. Damn. Oh, wait. I never seen no like this. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. They say this Dolph. They say this Dolph. They say this Dolph.
After the murder, Makeda's Cookies would decide not to reopen, and the storefront would turn into a memorial for young Dolph.
Whether it's a spray paint bottle or staple gun in hand, Jeremiah Taylor is a man on a mission each day at this memorial honoring slain Memphis rapper Young Dolph on Airways Boulevard.
He was a legend, he was a king, so his stuff deserves to be treated as such.
For Taylor, the persistence is personal. He, like Dolph, grew up in the Castalia Heights neighborhood, went to Hamilton High, and met the rapper several times.
It was very hard. It started off as me trying to get myself out of a rut. This really put me in a bad situation mentally or whatever. And so just for my mental health, it started out, all right, let me get to doing something positive.
So starting about 3 days after Dolph's death, inside Makeda's Cookies, outside the store, Taylor, along with local activist Frank Gotti, make daily trips to organize, beautify, and freshen up this growing tribute.
Unfortunately, the store itself would quickly become a hotspot for violence in the aftermath of Dolph's murder. Shots would be fired on camera at the memorial only a day after the murder.
That'd be one shot.
And even the man who looked after the memorial would end up being shot dead soon after. Fans online would create other kinds of tributes like collages of...
some filthy ass niggas, bruh.
And even the man who looked after the memorial would end up being shot dead soon after. Fans online would create other kinds of tributes like collages of all the times that Dolph gave back to his supporters and the people of Memphis. Meanwhile, Dolph's murder would spark numerous rumors of the involvement of Dolph's music industry ops, and speculation would swirl, predicting retaliation attacks against people like the relatives of Yo Gotti and Black Youngster. Now, these rumors would initially turn out to be false, but while fan speculation about who might have been involved played out online, a few days later, the police would make progress in the formal investigation. locating the white Mercedes that had been used in the murder in the Orange Mound neighborhood in South Memphis. And only a few days after that, a man was actually murdered near the very location where the car used in the murder of Dolph was found.
Damn.
The Memphis police also soon found out that the white Mercedes had been used in another deadly shooting not long before Dolph's murder. As this information trickled out to the public, fascinated fans and internet sleuths would continue to speculate on exactly who was responsible for the killing of Dolph. About a month after Dolph's murder, the police would begin to move in on the alleged perpetrators. A man named Cornelius Smith was arrested in December 2021, but the news of the arrest wouldn't break out until January 2022, when he was indicted on the murder of Dolph, amongst other related charges. In the same indictment, also named Justin Johnson, better known in Memphis as the rapper Straight Drop. Johnson was arrested on January the 11th, 2022 in Indiana as a suspect in Dolph's murder. But just a few days before his arrest, Straight Drop had actually posted on social media that he would be turning himself in on the 10th. But instead of turning himself in, he would end up putting out a new song called Trackhawk. The lyrics are ambiguous, including numerous highly questionable bars that seemingly hinted at his involvement in a recent murder. Moreover, before that, on the 22nd of November 2021, only a few days after Young Dolph's murder, Straight Drop had actually dropped a music video for a song titled Stepped On, where he could actually be seen wearing a pendant of Young Dolph's PRE Paper Route Empire label hanging from his belt, with some suggesting that this may have been a disrespectful nod, suggesting that Young Dolph may have been some sort of notch in his belt. In the same video, Straight Drop can actually be seen with a man named Joshua Taylor. And in February 2022, the police would announce two more persons of interest in the case, Divine Burns and Taylor, who was also known as CEO Teasy.
First at 5, the Memphis Police Department announced today 2 new men have been named persons of interest in the Young Dolph murder case. The first is Devin Burns. Burns has an active warrant out for aggravated assault and theft, which are unrelated to this case. The other man is Joshua Taylor. Memphis police are looking for both of these men and offering a $2,000 reward for each arrest.
At least 3 of the 4 people mentioned, Johnson, Burns, and Taylor, have a strong connection to True Mafia and can be seen following members publicly on their Instagrams, as well as wearing free Straight Drop shirts on social media and in music videos. CEO Teasy had even been seen in pictures on J Money's original Instagram account, with all of these members seemingly appearing together in numerous pictures and music videos. However, strangely, before the murder, Straight Drop himself had also been pictured around Young Dolph. But this was seemingly before True Mafia had split into 2, with Double R taking Dolph's PRE side and the True Mafia members remaining taking sides with CMG. Now, there's been intense debate as to whether Straight Drop himself had officially been affiliated with Yo Gotti's CMG label before Dolph's murder. Now, he wasn't tagged in a post by Yo Gotti's brother Big Jerk, which named everybody on the label, but he was being followed by Jerk on Instagram. However, Straight Drop may well have truly crossed the line in self-incrimination after it would emerge that he had actually recorded a music video in front of evidence used in the murder case, with the white Mercedes that was seen in CCTV from Dolph's murder being seen parked outside the abandoned home on Bradley Street just days after Dolph's murder. And shockingly, in a now deleted music video that Straight Drop released called Going Straight In, the backdrop for that music video would indeed be the exact same house where that getaway vehicle was found at, and that same house where somebody was killed soon after the murder of Dolph. The video was posted on November the 21st, 2021, only a few days after Young Dolph's murder.
The car was found outside this abandoned home on Bradley Street days after the killing in late November. It's the same home seen here in this music video featuring Young Dolph's accused killer, Justin Johnson, also known as Straight Drop.
And additionally, in August 2022, the police would also indict a man named Treon Ingram for the deadly shooting which preceded Dolph's murder that was also connected to that white Mercedes.
Meanwhile, a county away developments in another case that has a connection to Young Dolph's murder. A grand jury in Tipton County indicted one of 2 suspects police say is responsible for a November 12, 2021 shooting of 2 women in Covington. Investigators say they found Treon Ingram with the weapon connected to the shooting. They say a white Mercedes used in the shooting in Covington is the same car used in Young Dolph's death. We learned early on a lot of people were in the car between the time it was carjacked last November from a gas station on Kirby Parkway to the November 12th Covington shooting and the November 17th shooting of Young Dolph.
Later in 2022, Hernandez Govan was arrested on November the 10th. Govan was the first to also be charged with conspiracy to commit Dolph's murder. Soon after this, Jamarcus Johnson, brother of Justin Johnson, also turned himself in and was charged with the conspiracy to kill Young Dolph.
Marcus is being charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and although more charges may be coming, MPD says Johnson is from Memphis. We checked the system, and under the spelling of the name used in his booking, we found only one previous charge linked to that name. It's a misdemeanor marijuana possession charge that was later dismissed. This fourth suspect has the same last name as another suspect in this case, Jermaine Johnson, also known as Straight Drop, but MPD would not confirm if they are related.
The indictment against the four, Smith, Straight Drop, and his brother, as well as Govan, would specify their roles in the murder conspiracy, with Govan allegedly being the one who solicited Straight Drop and Smith to shoot Dolph, with Straight Drop's brother helping him to hide and escape after the murder. According to news outlets, Govan and all the shooters actually lived close to each other in the same neighborhood where that white Mercedes was found.
Court records show 43-year-old Hernandez Govan, who was just indicted in the rap star slaying, along with Johnson and Cornelia Smith, once lived just a few houses down. Neighbors fearing for their lives told us off camera he grew up on the street. A possible connection linking the suspects, as District Attorney Steve Mulroy says Govan asked for young Dolph to be murdered.
And interestingly, in the indictment, the beginning date of the conspiracy to murder Dolph is marked as June 1st, 2021, months before the actual murder. Interestingly, as some Reddit detectives have pointed out, only a few days before, Dolph would actually post on his Instagram account welcoming Big Unc, who had allegedly killed D-Money from Trula Mafia, to his Paper Route Empire label, with Reddit users suggesting that perhaps the conspiracy to murder young Dolph had been set into motion as soon as Dolph had publicly endorsed Big Unc. Meanwhile, being locked up didn't seem to stop Straight Drop from dropping more music, and on the 1-year anniversary of Dolph's death, he released the jail phone recorded song No Statements. But despite the title of the song being No Statements, Paper Route Empire artists would respond to a news outlet about the song, suggesting that someone indeed was giving statements based on the number of arrests that had been happening. The news would also report that the third man arrested in connection to Dolph's murder, Hernandez Govan, is actually the father of a free male rapper who went by the name Lottakash Desto. Lottakash Desto was tragically killed in September 2022, raising questions about whether or not this murder might have been connected to the murder of young Dolph too.
Govan's daughter, she was also a rapper, but she was killed in Houston in September.
Yeah, she went by Lottakash Desto, but her real name
is
Destiny Govan. Houston police say the 25-year-old was shot and killed in Houston September 24th, early that morning. Investigators say Govan and her friend were in their vehicle, stopped behind a vehicle at a traffic light. Police say two men got out of the vehicle and started shooting at the women. We're told the passenger was also shot but survived her injuries. Christian Williams was charged with her murder. About a month after the murder, Hernandez Govan posted on Facebook, "I think I cursed you, Destiny, with my lifestyle. I apologize, baby." As we reported earlier, Govan has dozens of criminal charges in his past, ranging from drug possession to aggravated assault.
It would seem that based on social media posts, that Desto was, or at least had been, indeed in some ways associated with the Trula Mafia, and even had a song together with J Money himself all the way back in 2015. Now, Desto's alleged killers, Jeremiah Smith and Christian Williams, were arrested and charged in early 2023, but their possible connection to the events in Memphis is still unclear. However, according to the internet, her death may well have been a completely unrelated incident that rather had to do with her own actions in Houston where she was living at the time, rather than Dolph. But regardless, the bloody retaliations following the murder of young Dolph were far from over. In June 2023, one of the persons of interest who was not charged in relation to Dolph's murder, Joshua Taylor, aka CEO Teasy, was suddenly also shot and killed. Reddit detectives had noted how Dolph's friends had been driving around the Orange Mound neighborhood where Teasy was killed not long before the shooting.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't none of those late night, middle of the daytime.
Stop that.
Talking about one ain't nothing to spend on. Talking about ain't
no doubt. You spending on the internet?
Put this on buns, on guns, on the head.
Talking about stupid. This I know looking, I didn't hit the lotto.
Meanwhile, both Cornelia Smith and Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, are set to go on trial in March 2024 after pleading not guilty to all charges. Fans have also noted that Straight Drop allegedly hired a lawyer that has connections to Yo Gotti's crew CMG, raising yet more rumours that Trula Mafia and CMG might have both been involved together in young Dolph's murder. Govan, on the other hand, was released on bond in May 2023, apparently due to medical reasons, while Straight Drop's brother, Jamarcus Johnson, actually accepted a plea deal admitting to guilt on accessory to murder charges in June 2023.
One of the 4 men charged in the murder of Memphis rapper Young Dolph became the first to take a plea in his case after Jamarcus Johnson pleaded guilty to 3 conspiracy charges this morning.
So we'll continue the rest of this in part 3. Once again, this was Sliding for Dolph, the life taking of Big Jook, part 2. This is a good documentary. Like, bro, he be putting this together so perfectly. Like, I really don't want to stop, but make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share the video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, ain't to live is to conquer. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See this game turn me into a monster. Hey, I'm a cowboy, can't stop me, to live is to conquer. All this pain got me feeling accomplished. See this game turn me into a monster. I'm a cowboy, can't stop, can't stop. Hey, all that pain got me feeling jaded. Many with your rope when to make it. Still plugged into the mix, but lagging out before the update. Drop back in, different time, same location.